Hello, and welcome to my presentation about the most ecological diet. First of all, let's talk about pollution. There are different types of pollution. It can be either air pollution, water, land and soil, or even noise and light. But we're going to focus on the first three. Now you're looking at this and you don't really see how can your diet affect that. So, what does this have to do with food? Well, actually, more than you'd imagine. There are three different primary gases that we can put the blame on when it comes to global warming, and those gases are carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. So, what happens with carbon dioxide? Well, if a person changes their regular car for a hybrid, they would reduce their CO2 emissions by 1 ton per year. But if a person changed their diet and went vegan, the reduction would be by 1.5 tons per year. And also, every single American dropping one serving of chicken every week would equal taking 500,000 cars off the road. That is crazy. And what's the matter with methane? Well, chicken, turkey, and pigs are the matter. They are the largest producer of methane, and since they are overfed, the amount of gases that they produce is even bigger. Also, methane is 20 times more powerful than CO2 when it comes to trapping heat in the Earth's atmosphere. Now it's a turn for nitrous oxide, and what happens with it? Well, the problem here is that the meat, egg, and dairy industry produces 65% of the nitrous oxide emissions, and methane was stronger than CO2. But this one is way worse because it is 300 times more powerful than CO2 when it traps heat in the Earth's atmosphere. Now let's escape to the water problem and let's compare some facts. 1 pound of meat equals not showering in 6 months. And let's be honest, no one wants that. A vegan diet requires 300 gallons of water per day, and you may think, well, this is a lot. Yeah, it is. But a meat eating diet needs 4,000 gallons of water every day. And also, animals raised for food create 89,000 pounds of excrement per second, and that pollutes the water. And moving on with the land and soil, raising animals for food takes more land mass than the moon. But let's focus on another problem, palm oil. We've heard of it, we know about it, we've been told that it is cancerous and that we should avoid it, but have you ever wondered about its impact? Well, it is the most used vegetable oil, and it's also used to feed animals, soon to be food. So, in order to make money, governments clear rainforests and plant palm trees there. That causes a lot of damage. These trees store massive amounts of carbon, but once they are lit or cut, this carbon is released to the atmosphere, and then the freshly cleaned land turns into an industrial farm that pollutes, exploits workers, and leaves a lot of species without a home. Animals such as the orangutans, elephants, tigers, gorillas, or chimps. Then, should you stop buying palm oil based products? I mean, yeah, but that won't really help. It is everywhere, it's impossible to avoid it. And also, only 26 millions of palm trees acres are used to feed humans. Meanwhile, 136 million acres of palm tree lands are used for cattle grazing and feeding crops. Then, what should I do? Yes, you've guessed right. Reduce the amount of meat you eat, or go vegetarian, or even vegan if you're brave enough. And I know what you're thinking. But is this healthy? Yes. You just have to be more careful with the amount of protein that you need. But don't worry, beans and seeds are cruelty-free sources of them, and we don't need as many proteins as our parents tend to make us believe. So, to conclude, every day you can save 1,100 gallons of water, 45 pounds of grain, 30 square feet of forests, 20 pounds of CO2, and the life of an animal by just following a vegan diet. Now, moment for a quick disclaimer, PSA, whatever. I'm not implying that you have to go vegan in order to save the earth or whatever, because I know that some people can't do that for medical reasons, are not allowed to by their parents, are scared, don't know how to do it, or maybe just don't want to. But just by reducing the amount of meat you consume, or even if you change and instead of beef you have like chicken, that actually makes a lot of difference on the pollution. And right now, the earth doesn't need three people who are doing it perfectly. It is so bad that even if everyone's doing their best, and their best isn't actually much, it is better than not doing anything. So if you can reduce the amount of meat, or maybe change your milk to soy milk, almond milk, or whatever, just try to. And if you can go vegan or you can go vegetarian, then go ahead and do it. And now I'm going to recommend some documentaries that I've seen that have to do with this topic. And the first one is called Cowspiracy. This one is really known, and it is just about this. It's just about how the meat industry and the dairy industry affect the environment. It is produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, and it stars Kip Anderson. And it's just like following Kip Anderson in his way to find out more about how to be eco-friendly, and that's basically it. But if you like it, there's a second part to this documentary. It is called What the Health, and it's pretty much the same, but instead of focusing on the earth, it focuses on your own health, and how, as I said before, we're not like our parents tell us to eat more meat than we actually need, and it's kind of like telling you what the bad things that can happen if you overuse it, and it's always with a scientific point. So those those documentaries are on Netflix, and I highly recommend it to anyone that's interested on this topic. And now, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and hope you enjoyed it.